and welcome to the inaugural episode of the Bombastic podcast with your hosts, Brent.
Lindsay.
And Daniel.
All right, this is our first attempt at making a podcast, take 42. The Bombastic podcast will consist of three longtime friends who game, send memes to each other, and if the stars align, we occasionally meet up in person. We almost like each other. So you're probably thinking, like, what's in this podcast? Why should I keep listening? Well, we're wondering that too. But so far, the plans for today, we're going to do crazy current events. We're going to take a journey through the hypothetical situation, running through my own mind, seeing what's around there. Scary place. I live there. I would know. And then we're gonna get some education in the world of Wikipedia. But before we start through, we'll give a quick introduction of ourselves. Lindsay?
Hi. Obviously, my name's Lindsay. There is not much to say aside from St. Louis area. I make airplanes for a living, and I know both Brent and Daniel from high school. Besides that, there's not much to say.
What do you like? What are your interests? Old Lindsay, old buddy, old pal, old
I
guy,
use the good old
dog.
Xbox pretty frequently. I game solely on Destiny 2. Excited for that Shadowkeep to come out. I'll listen to music and I work out on the daily.
All right.
Good stuff.
How about you, Daniel? Tell us about yourself.
I'm Daniel. Like Lindsay said, we all met each other in high school. I have diabetes, and there's not much more to it than that. I like gaming. I like pretty much every segment we have aligned for today. And I enjoy the art of improv, though I tend to fail in it pretty much every time I try. So,
Exhibit
Brent?
A. All right. So, as you may have guessed, my name is Brent. I'm a college student currently studying electrical engineering, the only correct form of engineering, if you're wondering or looking for a degree out there. But so I'm into just about anything. I'll try anything once. I like Rubik's Cubes. I juggle. I play Plants vs. Zombies, the greatest video game of our time. And I'm going to say a personal goal for me on this podcast is to get Will Smith as a special guest. The second Will Smith comes as a special guest, I'm going to quit. We will have peaked. There's nowhere higher that we can go. So, yeah, I'd say that's...
On the topic of goals, do you have anything, Daniel? Goals for the podcast?
Just getting a regular audience, even if it's people we know. That's kind of a hard thing to do. If you're not keeping it interesting, even your friends will just stop listening. It's like they're not interested in it. I wouldn't ask them to listen if they didn't enjoy it at all, you know?
Shout out to Mom. Thanks for listening. Guaranteed listener. All right, continue. Lindsay, do you have any goals for this podcast?
Selfishly, have a audience member carry me to Legend and Crucible, but realistically just have fun with my friends.
I actually also have another goal. I would like to have a fan so devoted that he makes a life-size mural of me and frames it and sends it to me in the mail.
Or she.
Preferably she.
Good point. Ew.
Also, but I know what you're thinking right now. If you're watching this on YouTube, which it's going to be on YouTube and ideally later podcasting sources, but you may be looking at this and they're like, oh, they might need some fan art for their profile pictures. Well, you're wrong. This picture is perfect. I don't know how you could ever improve it, but so
I did, and he turned it down.
Nope, not true. Completely flawless. I think actually this was a lost work of Da Vinci that we found. It was stolen by the Nazis, and luckily I was able to recover it on a flash drive that the Nazis had been keeping. And so, yeah, that's where it is. And so we're gonna start our first segment, but before we do that, we're gonna take a quick break to tell you about one of our sponsors today. And that sponsor is the Fractal Pillow. Now, I know what you're thinking. Every night you go to bed and you're like, man, my pillow does not have nearly enough surface area or perimeter for my needs. The area is fine, but I need a lot more surface area of my pillow because you got to flip it. You got to find the cool side. It's an eternal cycle, but there's only two sides to a pillow, so you're not going to have that much luck. Well, luckily with Fractal Pillow, they have engineered a pillow with an infinite surface area. So luckily for you, you can flip away. You're always going to have the cool side of the pillow because there's always a new side to flip to. And you don't need to worry about an infinite pillow. How am I going to fit that in my bed? Well, don't worry about it because it's got a limited surface area. So bada bing, bada boom. I know personally, I don't go anywhere without my Fractal Pillow. And yeah, so we want to thank Fractal Pillow for sponsoring us, and be sure to check out their website, fractalpillow.com/the Bombastic Podcast, and you can get yourself 0.3% off if you purchase today. But Lindsay, I think you got our first segment for us.
Yeah, our first segment today is the crazy current event. And crazy current event brought to you by HuffPost says there was $8,000 worth of wigs stolen from South Florida warehouse in hair-raising robbery.
I'm sorry, how many dollars worth of wigs?
You say 8,000 wigs or $8,000 of wigs?
$8,000 worth of wigs.
How many wigs?
How much is? Yeah, I was just gonna say, what's your average wig go for these days?
So this one, the owner tells the television interviewer that they were $800 each. Therefore, about 1,000 of the wigs were stolen. The owner goes on to say that the thieves appeared to know what they were doing due to their security cameras. They're in and out of the warehouse 3 times, all within 5 minutes. Their whole time there was only 5 minutes. So they saw a truck backing up and ramming it into the warehouse 3 times, as I just said. And he's insured for his losses.
Good. I knew wig insurance was pretty expensive these days, so that's good to know.
So, first thoughts, when you started this, I thought you had flaked on finding a crazy current event and you were going to tell a really bad joke because that just sounded like a giant lead up to a punchline.
So,
what are you going to do with 1,000 wigs? What do you think, Brent?
well,
What are you gonna do with
first
two
off,
wigs?
quick clarification. I think you said $100 per wig, and there were
No, $800 per wig.
$800 per wig, 8,000.
80,000.
80,000. Okay, because I was like, okay.
So like 100 wigs?
Yeah.
Right?
Everyone paused to
Yes.
do math. I assure you, we're all STEM majors, but math is hard.
It's fine. It happens.
Well, so I'm trying to think
Okay,
because
we
like
all have classes.
the resale value of a wig can't be like. Is there a wig black market that he's gonna sell these to? Because like I just really can't think of any use for a wig that
I can't
resale value.
see anyone
Brent,
wanting
I
more
can't
than
think of
maybe
enough
2
uses
wigs.
for a wig. That's the problem. You're not thinking big enough. I mean, what if you had 100 wigs and you had 100 dogs? You could give 50 dogs a wig, and you
But-
give 50 of their owners a wig.
That's a good question. Are these
and
human
then make them
wigs?
go to war against each other.
They are human wigs.
Okay. Then,
I'm not sure if they all are, but the majority of them at least is.
Now, surely you could repurpose a human wig to an animal head.
a functioning animal head.
And
Possibly?
now, I just want you to picture a brown bear with a purple mullet wig on its head.
Okay. I'm
Okay,
picturing it.
maybe
How do we
someone,
get the wig on the bear?
Maybe some lady,
It's
I believe
trained.
they're mainly female wigs, wanted to throw a party, and the party favors were going to be wigs. And obviously, no one's going to spend $80,000 on wigs, but she wanted to do something nice for all of her friends.
Or maybe she wants the longest extensions in existence.
Have they
That's
caught
true.
the guy? Have they caught the guy who stole the wigs? Or, where do you hide 100 wigs?
I mean,
As
I could hide
posting-
100 wigs in my sofa box. I don't know.
Obviously, as
Your sofa
as a
box.
posting of this article, there's no one's been caught. But
Wow.
Suspect is still at large.
if they can see vehicles ramming into the shop, then obviously there's probably showing of like car models, making models, and possibly even license plates.
Yeah. And so people don't forget, if you get any information, send it directly to the Bombastic podcast. We will report it. Don't go to the police. Report it to us. For legal reasons, I have to say that's a joke. But yeah, we are curious. If your neighbor recently brought in over 100 wigs, let us know. So, and
Whether you live in southern Florida or not, because I want to know
Yeah.
who wants 100 wigs.
exactly.
All right, transitioning from that, Daniel is going to bring us another advertisement.
All right, this next segment is brought to you by the Catfish Glove. For all the excitement of catching a fish barehanded with 86% less ability to use your hand. Now, I believe this next segment is the hypothetical situation. Brent, do you have that ready for us?
Yes, sir, I do. All right.
Take us on a journey.
All right. So for those of you new to the podcast, which is everyone, this is going to be the bread and butter here, because since the dawn of lunchtime in high school, we were coming up with random questions and asking each other and trying to convince each other of our positions. Now, I personally have been a convincer of my friends to try and convince them that, for example, potatoes have souls, that the earth could be made into a sandwich, and similar very logical stuff. And so for today, this one's a little more serious, but not necessarily. So today, I got for you guys, what if you could obtain a job? So let's just say hypothetical situation. So my great-great-grandfather was Daniel's biggest fan. So he worshipped the ground you walked on, and he was a multi-billionaire. He had great money, and so he's passed away, unfortunately, rest his soul. But he loved you so much, he wanted to give you a job. Now, in addition to liking you, he also loved this very complicated puzzle. Let's just say puzzle. And so it's a 1,000-piece puzzle. And in his will, he has stated that he will give you this job. There's someone going to be watching you, and he will pay you $3 million per year to put this puzzle together. And so every time you complete this puzzle, because it's a 10,000-piece puzzle, so it's going to take you a while, but not a super long time. But every time you complete this puzzle, you just have to take it all apart and put it back in the box, and then start all over again. And so the shtick is, you're going to be making great money the rest of your life, but your entire work is for nothing. You never actually accomplish anything, because anytime you actually complete the project, you have to completely tear it apart and restart it.
But there's no like space in between.
If you finish it one day, you're continuing.
What are my hours?
We'll give you the classic 9 to 5.
Oh, 9 to 5, and I'm making $3 million a year. Do I get paid on like a weekly basis or
Bi-weekly.
monthly? Bi-weekly. Okay. So every 2 weeks, I'm racking in, what is it, like 120K or something? So
there's too much pressure to do math. It's like, I think it would be like 600K bi-weekly or something. No, it wouldn't be. It was like 60K or something bi-weekly.
Okay.
No, it would be 30K. I don't know. Point is, you're making a crap ton of money, but you've never actually accomplished
What's interesting
anything.
about this puzzle is that it started as a 1,000-piece puzzle and became a 10,000-piece puzzle. If I could replicate this, then I will never stop being entertained by this puzzle. So 9 to 5, I'm keeping myself busy because every time I do this puzzle, it multiplies by 10.
No, okay, ignoring that. So back to the legit thing. It's 10,000 pieces. But so the point is, Like it doesn't even have to be a puzzle, because originally when I presented it, you're building like a model plane, but every time you finish the model plane, you have to tear it apart. So it doesn't really matter what you're doing. The point is, your entire life, this is your job. You're working to create something that takes a long time, so it's not completely inconsequential. You've put a lot of time into building this thing, and the second you complete it, you have to tear it apart and restart.
Just rip it apart, or like piece by piece?
See, personally, I take a lot of pride in my work. I have things that I complete every day. Each of my tools I complete once a day or once every 2 days. And there's a lot of pride, a lot of feeling of like you have something to show for what you've done, because there's this new part of an airplane being done every day, and you're getting closer to a completed airplane. Versus this, you can't. There's not much you can take pride in. Yeah, you can show off your fat wallet, but at the same time, you don't have that accomplishment.
Exactly. And when you show up at parties, it's like, oh, what do you do? It's like, oh, I make puzzles. It's like, oh, is the pay well? He's like, yeah, I make more than virtually everyone, except Bill Gates, but and a couple other people, but
among others.
yeah. The point is, like,
new hypothetical situation. Bill Gates is the only person with money on the planet.
well,
Theoretically,
money's
money
lost
is worthless.
value
Yeah.
at that point. So, if for whatever
Short
reason
hypothetical.
switch out money with sheep, and this is the apocalypse. He's got literally all the sheep. He owns 10 billion sheep. Yeah, he's gonna be the ultra warlord, because he's like, hey, listen, you protect me, I'll give you a sheep or a couple sheep, and then
Well, now that depends, because the sheep are gonna be valuable anywhere for the muttons and the lamb chops, whatever, what have you. But does Bill Gates live in a tundra climate? Because I feel like the sheep.
he literally lives in the
valuable.
sheep. He doesn't have a house. He's like their king of their flock, and so he'll just like be in the middle of the sheep, and they'll form a house around him made of sheep.
So the sheep stack on top of each other.
Correct.
Okay, no,
Are these special sheep? Can they?
you're going too far
they
off
find each
track,
other?
though. Is it worth any amount of money to completely take away any sense of pride or accomplishment in what you're forced to do 5 days a week, 48 hours a week?
I thought we were making a new one, but yeah, no, for
right.
completing the before we consider sheep for half an hour. I don't think I could do it, because like I could not. You go into work and it's like you'd never accomplish anything, and you maybe think it's like, oh, I just go home and then I do something, but it's like if you've worked a 9-hour day or 8-hour day, and then you get home, you're not going to want to do very much, and it's like that takes up just so much of your life that you're just committing to doing nothing. And
Still, it's very like mentally
hold on.
taxing.
Do
You're
I,
just sitting there and doing something you don't enjoy doing for 8 hours a day? It's still very mentally tasking.
Now is this year round? Do I get holidays or personal days or anything?
I think Daniel's excluded from this hypothetical.
I feel like it's a reasonable question. Is it 5 days a week every week?
You get Hanukkah off. That's it.
I get Hanukkah off. Like
Yep.
the whole what is it? Is it 7 days? Is it 12 days? I forget. How long is Hanukkah?
37 days. You get the entire 37-day Hanukkah
Dang.
off.
See, now I have 37 days and I have millions of dollars to spend over those 37 days. I could do a lot of useful things to the world in those 37 days, or at least give money to people who are going to do useful
so
things. with that.
you're rich, but you're not like filthy. Like you're not giving people cars in like your own talk show. Like you're not that rich. You just happen to be very well off. Like
I'm not trying to give stuff away, but like you give money, a lot
I'm
of
not
money
trying to
to
give
good
handouts.
causes, and on those 37 days, like you have enough money, you could take yourself anywhere in the world and do any number of service projects.
I think what
You know
we're
what I'm saying?
learning
So,
from
like,
this is
you're-
Daniel can be bought.
I can be bought from 9 to 5, but then I have my whole evenings to entertain myself. I can do my own projects at my house, and then for 1 month a year, I have all this money, and I could do something really cool with it. Something really useful, you know?
Yeah.
I'm still not for it.
So
That's
okay,
fair.
let's
I get
say
it.
for
I
Daniel,
like it.
let's say we change it to you now have 12-hour days of building this puzzle, but it's even easy. Like it's not even really building a puzzle anymore. It's just on a computer screen. You just have a mouse, and it's a virtual puzzle. So the only thing you're moving is your arm, but it's 12 hours each day. Still get the 3, or we'll double it now to, or let's just say 9 million now. So you're getting 9 million per year, but your entire day is gone basically, but you get weekends off. We'll say, sure, weekends off.
That I think I would consider it.
Wow.
12 hours a day suck, but like that gives me 12 hours in the day to sleep and entertain myself.
Yeah. But that,
You know,
at that point, the point is like you
I'll-
really can't accomplish anything at that point, unless you like ultra put your mind to it. But
See, speaking from someone who finally has a job that he thoroughly enjoys, I cannot go back to a job that I do not like, no matter how
Fair
much
enough.
I'm getting paid.
all right. Well,
All right.
we
well,
know where we stand.
I think that's pretty good for this session. Now, Lindsay, it's my understanding we have another sponsor. Another sponsor.
We
this
do have
show?
another sponsor. Thanks for reminding me. Our sponsor is Guidebook to Guidebooks. Do you ever find yourself very lost and just not able to comprehend your guidebook, your manual? Well, Guidebook has it for you. It's the number one competitor to the book Dummies for Dummies. For Dummies, pardon me. Pick up one of these books at any retail store, and literally it'll tell you and explain everything in a more simpler way than its own manual.
Thank you, Lindsay. Now, I'll be starting this segment off. What I'll be doing is I'm on Wikipedia now, and I'm going to click a random article, and without reading it, we're just going to read the title, and we're going to surmise what we think this page is about. Let's see if we can get an interesting one here. All right. No. Wow. Wow, we're really striking out here. Okay.
For reference for
I think we can
people.
work. I think we can work with this one. Now, Brent, what do you think is the significance of William A. Clark, the soldier?
William A. Clark, the soldier.
Yep.
Funny enough, I'm actually related to William A. Clark, the soldier. It's my it's father, actually. William A. Clark, the soldier.
Your father is William A. Clark, the soldier.
Yes, sir.
Wow.
Yeah, it's funny how coincidental that is for me. But yeah, so William A. Clark, the soldier, I call him Dad. But basically, he did some cool stuff. When he was young, he actually invented the glow-in-the-dark floss, actually. Because you know how many times you've been flossing your teeth and you've been, man, I can't even see my teeth. And so he invented glow-in-the-dark floss. The reason they call him the soldier is one time he got mugged on his way to the floss factory, and the only thing he had on him was glow-in-the-dark floss. And so he was able to distract the man long enough for him to die of old age with his glow-in-the-dark floss. And so it was a misnomer in the press. They say he strangled him to death with the floss, but not actually true. He just waited for him to die of old age. And so, so mainly known for inventing glow-in-the-dark floss, also known for killing a man. But
Okay.
that's pretty
It
much
says
William A.
here that
Clark.
he earned a Medal of
Hold on.
Honor.
All right.
this?
Well, apparently you've already read it. So apparently we didn't rehearse this well enough because, Lindsay, you weren't supposed to read it. You were supposed to give your own guess at what it is.
I'm waiting for your answer on why he earned the Medal
So,
of Honor.
here in the Medal of Honor, now obviously, because he had the glow-in-the-dark floss incident, right? But after
Yeah.
that, everyone started calling him the soldier, and he thought, this might be marketable, and he started his own floss shop, and he called it Soldier Floss for when you're on the battlefield and you just need to floss.
Did the mugger or did the
William A. Clark.
William A. Clark die?
The mugger died.
The mugger died.
Okay, because I totally misunderstood you.
Yeah. No, William A. Clark. So he made this guy age out. He's pretty old at this point too. But he started his own company because he needed to sustain himself for the rest of his life. Soldier Floss. He sold the glow in the dark floss, and he branded it like, sometimes you're on the battlefield and it's nighttime and your breath stinks. you just got to floss, and the only reflection you have is off the water, but the moonlight just doesn't quite do it. So the glow-in-the-dark floss just gets the job done. And he earned the Medal of Honor for that because there was a 42% decrease in floss-related deaths.
Yeah. Also,
That's
one more quick thing. He was the star role in Mulan, the Disney animated classic film.
Oh, Brent, you're making that up.
No, it's true. It's it might not be listed in Wikipedia just because Wikipedia is stingy about their Disney anime classic films. But yeah.
Wow.
All right.
All right.
Lindsay, care to confirm the information for us?
Yeah. Tell us all the page says about William A. Clark's soldier.
Well, I do recall the star in Mulan. I hear that from many sources. I think it's on Wikipedia's partner page that I'm not allowed to discuss at the time. However, he also did some puppeting work. He actually became a really good ventriloquist. I can't say that word, but and he did that within Siberia, actually.
Wow.
This seems
And he
sketchy.
taught people how to use floss because kids in Siberia didn't obey their parents and use floss to clean their teeth. So he went over, used puppets, and kind of uplifted the idea of floss.
Wow. What a guy.
Patron saint of floss, if you didn't know.
So, shall we read the Wikipedia page?
Give us a brief overview because they might focus on different parts of his life, so there might be slight variation. So go ahead and read a little bit about him.
Right. Corporal William A. Clark, Brent's father and the grandson of the man who gave me a puzzle job. Born July 24th, 1828.
Yeah.
Died January 9th, 1916. He was an American soldier of the Civil War. That's redundant. He was a soldier in the Civil War who, during a battle at Nolensville, Tennessee, on 15th of February, 1863, successfully defended a wagon train. For his actions, he earned the Medal of Honor.
The wagon train had floss.
Wow. It says nothing about floss, Brent.
Well, you need to edit the article and fix that.
Wow. Why am I not signed into Wikipedia? We'll fix it later.
Okay. All right. Well, I think that's just about all the time we have for this podcast because I've got a lab to do. But so in the future, we're gonna definitely try and keep up. We're gonna try and throw in some variations about different segments. So if you like the ones we had this time, let us know because if you're listening to this, you know us. And so we're gonna also try and throw in a couple new ones, a couple ideas we have. I keep a dream journal. That's a story for another time. But sometimes I have some weird dreams. I'm thinking we could discuss some of those. We might throw in a segment where we spend the entire segment building up a creative world, like a D&D world or something like that. And so you get to see the creative process as we go through and create something. That would be over a couple episodes. And then We might discuss whatever hobby I'm into at the time. We're thinking about maybe discussing different movies. We have a lot of different ideas for stuff that we could do. And if you have any ideas or something you'd like to hear us do, send us in. And yeah, I think that's pretty much going to wrap up the podcast. Does anyone have anything else before we cut it off?
I don't think so.
Don't think so. Thanks for listening.
All right. Until next time, this is the Bombastic Podcast signing off. You guys have a nice day.